Tyler was kind of a weird guy. You know, they might keep him away. Like, this is not how you bond with people in your high school. We're able to actually go through Tyler's text messages and kind of get a little bit more of a picture of what's going on. So in this text, he's texting that same friend and he hits him up and he says, "Don't text me about drugs." And his friend's like, "What happened?" And then he says, my mom has it because I got arrested on Monday. Actually, I think this was a text with a girl. Said, "She's flipping shit. I just got out today." And she says, "Oh, shit." He says, "Shit sucked." Just says, "You bad, kid." She's like, "Just kidding. It's a private slice for me." People aren't even always like talking to Tyler. He's just kind of like firing stuff off here. But the other thing that's really interesting is a little bit before this happened, Tyler was actually arrested for arson in a wildlife preserve. That's just what this guy was doing. Stealing shit, doing drugs, and getting arrested. So, of course, his parents are going to take his phone. By all accounts, the Hadleys were a pretty normal family. They said that the only rule that they had for their kids was don't do drugs, go to church every Sunday. They took him to church every Sunday. They had family dinners. They were those people in Tyler's life. But he gets arrested. He gets his phone taken away, and he's pretty upset about it. And then it kind of starts escalating because then he's talking to this girl named Mercedes, talking about his mom, and he says, "Yup, she's a C word for sure. I might kill her." Once again, the kids that don't know how to respond to anything like this, she says, "Oh my God, no jail, or I mean prison, LOL." And he just says, "Oh well." These people don't even know how to talk to Tyler when he's saying all this stuff. And Tyler just wants friends. So much so that Tyler has an idea. If he can just have this big party that everyone goes to and everyone likes and everyone comes out and they're drinking and they're having fun, then everyone is gonna like Tyler. He gets to do drugs and he gets to have this big party and everyone's gonna come over. And so that's exactly how the idea starts. Tyler decides that he wants to have a party. And he starts telling people that. And people know how Tyler's parents are. They make him go to church all the time. The Hadleys are really nice people. They took his phone. They know that his parents are never going to have a party. And what do kids ask when another kid in high school says that they're going to have a party? The first thing people ask is, "Where are your parents going?" And that's what everyone asks. "Tyler, where are your parents going? Where are your parents going? Where are your parents going?" Tyler gives a bunch of vague answers. But to one of his friends, he actually tells him that he's going to kill his parents and then have a party. I'm pretty sure that he told his friend this verbally, but it's actually confirmed in this text where his friend Matt texts him and says, "Did you do it?" And he said, "No, but I'm gonna." And Matt said, "Bet? You really should now." Matt over here on his Michelle Carter shit. And then Tyler says, "Don't worry, I am." Then, oh my God, oh no, I showed the one who's supposed to be censored. Sorry, guys. And then he says, "I'm gonna have a party." I think the other thing that's so fucking alarming to me, that's so incredibly alarming, is the way all of these people respond. These are three different people that he's texting. One friend doesn't know how to respond to his suicidal ideologies. The other friend doesn't know how to respond to him saying he's gonna kill his mom. And then the next person actually says like, "Yeah, you should do it." And remember, he's not saying, "Yeah, you should have this party." He's like, yeah, you should kill your parents and then have the party. I'm like, did you think this was a fucking joke? I'm sorry. I'm ratting you out. Am I ratting you out? Hold on, I'm thinking about this in high school terms. Am I gonna be a loser? No, I don't give a f***. Ratting you out. I am that rat. That's me. I'm the rat. Tyler starts telling people that he's gonna have this party. Starts messaging his friends on Facebook. "What's up, bruh? Chillin', what you doing tonight?" Tyler says, "Trying to have a party at my crib." His friend says, "Your parents ain't home?" And Tyler said, "Nope. Well, they're leaving soon." And this message was sent around 3 or 4 o'clock. Before the murders. So Tyler posted on Facebook, "Party at my house, hit me up." And this is on Saturday at 8:15 p.m. But I'm about to tell you guys what happened between the other message and this Facebook post. Tyler sat in his room for a couple hours basically stewing. He had been texting people, he had been posting on Facebook, he'd been messaging friends and saying that he was going to have this party. And he had been talking about this for a week to 2 weeks. And I think at this point, Tyler even felt that he had this pressure to deliver on this big party that he had dreamed about and he had fantasized about. After posting his Facebook stuff and thinking about it for a while, the party is supposed to happen anywhere after 8, 9, 10, 11 o'clock. And as time goes on, Tyler realizes that he has to do it. He's stalling. Something's holding him back. So in order to amp himself up, Tyler takes an ecstasy pill. And then, after that, he takes another ecstasy pill. And then he's like, you know what? Let's just go ahead and take another ecstasy pill. So Tyler took 3 ecstasy pills. And I'm not sure if this was always the weapon that he had in mind, but he decided to get a hammer. And then, I hope I don't get DMCA'd for this, but I just need to show you guys how fucking gross this is. He took 3 ecstasy pills, he grabbed a hammer, and then he played a song that was called Feel Lucky by Lil Boosie. This song. This is the song that was playing when Tyler grabbed a hammer, walked into his mother's office, who was working on her computer. Tyler's mom was working on her computer, facing this way, just the way that I am right now. And her son walked right up behind her, and he stood there for a couple minutes. His mom was working. I don't even know if she knew he was there, but he stood there for a couple of minutes. He said himself, hammer in hand, while Lil Boosie is playing. And then he struck his mother in the back of the head with a hammer while she sat there working on his computer. And he struck her again, and he struck her again. And the first thing that happened was Tyler's dad heard the mother's screams, and so he runs downstairs to help. And the first thing that Blake Hadley yelled when he saw his son attacking his wife was, why? He didn't yell, stop. He didn't yell, F you, Tyler. He didn't yell any of that. They loved their son so much that while they died and they were being bludgeoned to death with a hammer, they repeatedly yelled, why? Why are you doing this, Tyler? Why? So he strikes his mother, turns around, hits his dad, basically sedates him until he beats both of them in the head with a hammer while listening to Lil Boosie or ICP or whatever crazy is, and he's on ecstasy. So this is around 5 o'clock, and Tyler realizes that this is a lot messier than he had anticipated. So this is downstairs, and he tries to clean up the bodies best he can, and he drags the bodies into the master bedroom. And this is taking much, much longer than he thought, because I think I read somewhere that his dad was like heavy 200 pounds or about 300 pounds. And somehow he got those bodies into that room. But Tyler started to get very lazy with the cleanup. He didn't really clean the computer that well. And you guys saw from the blood spatter stream, blood goes everywhere. Cast off from a hammer. If you're taking an object like a hammer, especially when it's got that wing in the back, when you strike something the first time and you draw back, nothing's going to happen. But when you strike again and that hammer, that point of contact, hits a pool of blood, it now has a source of blood, and you draw back again, that spatter hits the ceiling. And Tyler made tens, if not 100 beatings of that hammer with his parents. There was blood everywhere. There was blood on the ceilings, there was blood on the walls, and there was blood in places that Tyler could never get. So Tyler begins to get lazy, and he takes all of the dining chairs, he takes the carpet, he takes the things from the computer, all this stuff, and he throws it into the room where his parents' dead bodies are, and he throws everything on top of it. And then Tyler gets back on his computer and posts this Facebook status at 8:15 p.m. and says, "Party at my house, hit me up." Tyler had posted all this stuff, inviting all these kids from high school, all these people he didn't know, and now everyone is coming to this party, because what do? You just say, yo, what's the address? What's the address? Everyone's dishing out this address, and suddenly this house is full of 100 kids that Tyler doesn't even know. And this was supposed to be his dream, to throw a super mega